What's going on, guys? Got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 6, and I will say right off the bat, this is probably my favorite of the first 6 issues. I really like what's in here. So let's just go ahead and get started. Return to New York, Part 6, 4 Busted Knuckles. That is a returning theme over and over in this one. So we have the 4 brothers sitting on a barge, and we have an internal monologue, but we're not entirely certain as to who it was that's speaking. It doesn't look to be any of the 4 brothers, although for a moment I did think it was Donatello, and I'll note as to why later, but just kind of quickly talking about some of it, talking about what it is to know karate and martial arts in general, that it's kind of an intricate dance. The slightest of movements can either be an effective punch or one that harms the one throwing it. Just to kind of quickly sum up that. And basically it says, it could be a decisive blow, or, it could lead to 4 busted knuckles instead of a fist. And so, yep, they get off the barge, head into the tunnels, and immediately they're still at each other. There is no unity with the 4 brothers here. In particular, Mikey and Raph. Now, Mikey in particular, what he's noting right here is that he's got sources that have told him that this is where to find Karari. They're personally seeking her out. But the same source just told him that he's been fired from his TV show for aiding a known murderer, Raph, because the warden was killed and Raph was framed for that one. And so they're having some back and forth here, and Donnie's like, "Hey guys, Splinter says we need to stop this," and stuff like that. Now he mentions right here the 4 busted knuckles, and this is why I thought maybe that might have been Donnie's internal monologue. So, but Mikey's like, "Dude, the rats," and he gets cut off before he can finish it. And then the 2 are back at it again, and Raph's like, "You know what? I'm tired of telling you to shut up," and he's just going to make him shut up. So then the 3 get brought into it because Leo's trying to separate the 2, and then they're both like, "You know what? Shut up, Leo." And, Donnie's over here talking to Splinter, and he's trying to remember what it was that drove all the brothers away, when suddenly 2 little flames pop up behind Donnie, and Leo tells him, "Hey, get down." And so, yeah, the Foot Clan is over here, and they got guys with flamethrowers just waiting for them. So the tunnels are of no use to the turtles at this point. They run into a slight dead end, but Leo cuts down the door over here, slashes right through, and they escape up to the city, but it's of no use because, well, the Foot Clan are also on motorcycles swinging maces. So now they're bouncing back and forth on top of cars. We get a nice little, fight scene going on here. And I am going to have a slight issue right in this area between this page and the next page. So I just want to take note of where everybody's at. So we have Raph on the truck. We have Mikey over here and Leonardo over here. So Leo's with this bike, Mikey's with this. Flip the page. Well, now Raph's on the motorcycle with Mikey, and Leonardo's on the truck. Why the switch up? I don't know. That does look to be kind of an error. Now, Raph and Mikey are still fighting back and forth on here. Now, Leo's kind of looking at it and talking with Donnie. He's like, these 2 are just nonstop at each other. We're going to have to be the only sensible ones, right, Donnie? He looks over at Donnie, sees him talking with the dead rat, and he's like, "Okay, so I'm going to be the only sensible one here." And I did find that pretty funny. I enjoyed that. So they make their way up to the top of a skyscraper. And I also I kind of note right here that there might have been a little bit of mix-up as to who's talking right here. They have it as Mikey talking, but it really kind of should have been Raph, I feel, given the rebuttal. It's a slight nitpick, and I'm not that big on it, but it does, to me, it would make more sense for the rebuttal to come back from Michelangelo rather than, oh, I'm sorry, coming from Raph rather than Michelangelo. I feel that should have been Raph's rebuttal, not Mikey's. So yeah, they make their way on there, but they don't get to escape for very long. The Foot Clan is right on top of them once again from the helicopters. They're firing arrows at them with gas, so they're trying to escape from the rooftop. Well, there's firefighters down below, ready with the fire hoses. Hit them with it, and they fall down into the alleyway. And now we have firefighters getting ready to swing an axe at Donnie. So, big trouble here for the Turtles. I mean, they are getting quite the warm welcome back to the city from the Foot Clan. And actually, this firefighter right here says, New York is the Foot Clan's town now. So, Foot Clan is all over New York. Now we catch up with Casey Jones and April. This is her first appearance in this series. And she's in the hospital. See, these Foot Clan members have been told, like, all hands on deck, go get the Turtles there. So they go off. April goes in. And basically, she now sees the condition of Casey and just tells him, you've never backed down from a fight. You're going to fight this out. Gives him some words of encouragement. Now, also want to note Casey's mask. Now, I didn't say a whole lot about it in the last issue. I'm fine with it. I prefer the more traditional hockey-style mask rather than this skull-looking one. But it's fine. I've definitely seen worse. I won't say I'm the biggest fan of it. I definitely gravitate towards the more original style. So the firefighter, back over with the Turtles. The firefighter hits Donnie in the shell. It's made of metal, so it's not going to hurt him, but it does piss him right off. So he starts busting up people with his whoop-ass stick. So everybody's fighting, but they're like, hey, this is a bad look. We're beating up firefighters in New York, and, the adoring fans are making sure to catch this on their phones and whatnot. So, yeah, they got firefighters and police. Raph's ready to throw down with the officers. Leo tells him, hey, that's not what we're doing. We're not doing this. And, Raph's like, well, I can show you how it's done. And then Leo says, you need to simmer down, and punches Raph. And then, Mikey's he's concerned. He's like, guys, this is not what we're doing. But, of course, they're having it out. And Mikey's like, Donnie, can you help me out here? We need to calm these two down. They're going to kill each other. And Donnie's like, guys, Splinter says, and Mikey cuts him off. And now both the other two brothers are there to not shut him up. So he's like, that's not Splinter. Our father is dead. And hearing those words silences the other two. They're like, oh no. He's so confused. He's like, well, how can that be? Whose voices am I hearing in my head? But not a whole lot of time is left to process because, remember, the Foot Ninjas are still out there. So they knock the two into the other two, and now everybody's on the floor. And we get some more internal monologue. And I'll take a quick moment and I'll read some of this. It says, a broken fist cannot punch effectively. A broken leg cannot roundhouse. And I'll show the next pages here. So, boys get up, they're getting out. We're seeing all this. And then still see that they're surrounded. I'll read the rest of the internal monologue. It says, a broken family cannot endure. There has always been tension between the brothers Hamato, but their differences have never driven them far apart. They need each other to survive what is coming. To survive an enemy who's grown stronger than ever. I pray that they remember the lessons of the past as they seek a new way forward. I pray that, as that is all I can do now. From so far away, I pray for my students. So it's Splinter that we're hearing. For my sons, welcome home, my children. I pray that you will hear my voice from beyond the veil between worlds. We are not what we were, but what we are will have to be enough. 4 busted knuckles and 1 dead rat. And that is the final page. And again, you know, they're in bad shape here. And so that's where we leave off. And I really like what we had in this one. You know, clarifying, okay, maybe Donnie's not insane. Perhaps he is actually hearing Splinter's voice. And it's not just in his head, being that we get that monologue. That's really interesting. And I mean, they're all reincarnated as far as the last series from 2011 is concerned. And again, this looks like it's a continuation of that, but you can read this without reading the other necessarily. And so I don't find that that's like far-fetched that Splinter is able to, you know, basically do like the Jedi thing and reach out to him from beyond the grave. So I find that very interesting, and I do know where all this starts to continue, and I do like how that continues on. So yeah, this is one of the strongest ones. You know, the fact that they're on their heels the entire time that they're there, right? They get off the barge, immediately met with flamethrowers, and then from there, you know, foot on motorcycles. They get away from that just to get to the rooftops where the helicopters are waiting. Like, it is nonstop, constantly on their heels. Like, they cannot catch a break. Lots of action. And not only, you know, are they getting issues with, like, the foot, they're still fighting amongst themselves. Like, they just can't put the past behind them and start to work together. And so it's going to be really good once they finally get over their differences and what all it'll take for them to get there and how they're going to be able to evolve without Splinter immediately there. So definitely worth a read. Highly recommend this one for any fans. So far, like I said, this is a strong series. I'm all caught up to issue 9, and I don't think that there's a bad issue among them. So far, I would still say issue 3 is the weakest. Now, this one is probably the strongest. I would say issue 4 with Donatello, also a pretty good contender. But in both issues, 4 and 6, we see them being heroic. You know, we saw, even though the cops are coming after the turtles, and Raph's losing his cool a little bit, you still see, like, Leonardo steps in. It's like, no, this is not what we do. We're not doing that. So they're still protecting people that are trying to do good, even if like Foot Clan have infiltrated some of their ranks. Because 1, it's not a good look, and 2, that's not what they're about. They're not trying to hurt anybody. So yeah, very good stuff. So but that is all I have for this week, guys. So until next time, take care and God bless.